Yeah, he obviously gives us that opportunity. He's had a lot of success in his career off of left-handers, and we have not made a lineup for Tuesday, but I mean, that was one of the reasons we went and got him, because of his success off of left-handers. And situation we want to start him in left, or you want to pinch hit in a situation, that opportunity's there, and a guy that can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Where are you leaning right now?
On Tuesday, I'm just worried about today's lineup today, and if you didn't get it, it's Jeet, Nick. We feel good about Nick playing today, but we're still going to let him go through BP to make sure that he is okay. Tex, Alex, Cano, Posada, Grandy, Swish, Gardy.
Joe, are you looking forward to having looking at Anderson and looking at your new guys, and Johnson, and positions and how they're going to work within the unit?
I am. Obviously, when you get new players, you want to see how they react to the situation, and everything so far has been very positive. But this is the real season now. Spring training is spring training, and I thought they played very well, and they were comfortable in the clubhouse, and things were great. But it is the season, and when you're a new guy, you're anxious to get off to a good start. And sometimes you can be a little bit too anxious, and you just have to make sure that you stay within yourself.
So what you guys accomplished last year and just everything that you've done for you so far in 2 years in the job, is opening day for you any different than the first two?
It's probably the first one's probably the most anxious one. You know, the first day as a manager of the New York Yankees, the anticipation, the anxiety that you go through, and making sure that you try to have everything lined up. But they're all special. They really are. No matter who you're playing or what the situation is. In my playing career, they were all special. And you feel fortunate that you're still in uniform.
Joe, earlier today, Posada was talking about catching AJ and how they worked out their problem. He said there really wasn't a problem, it was just one bad game, and he implied, in fact, more than implied, that you thought there was more of a problem between them than there really was.
No, I didn't. You know, obviously we had Jose catch him as time went on. But as far as a problem, there have been a lot of guys in the big leagues that have had a different catcher than the starting catcher catch him during the course of a season. Greg Maddux did it all the time. It was not a huge story in Atlanta. There's been a lot of guys that have done that. Randy Johnson always had one wherever he was at, it seemed like. There wasn't a huge story in Arizona when he was there. So for me, I think it took on a bigger picture because we're in New York. And it was an emotional time, and we were fighting for the division, and we were nearing the playoffs, and it seemed to take on, you know, it became a big story. But as far as them having a problem, I wasn't concerned about that. I didn't necessarily see a huge problem there.
Do you know if it's going to be, if you guys have a lead at 8 tonight, you'll be able to follow through?
Right now, our 8th inning is somewhat similar to what it was last year at this time. No one has really claimed that spot. And Phil Hughes claimed that spot, I can't tell you exactly when, but for the last 3 or 4 months, we had the same guy in the 8th inning. That's something that will work its way out. The sooner, the better for us. You'd like to establish that role. And we don't use guys really 3 days in a row here, so it, you know, could change from time to time. But you know, it's going to depend on where they are in their lineup tonight.
Do you feel that you were better cast this year than this time last year? Of guys who could turn
We are definitely more experienced in guys coming off very good years for us. But we had guys coming off good years last year that were in our bullpen. Damo was hurt most of the year and emerged the last month and in the playoffs. But I think we're a little bit deeper in our bullpen this year than last year.
Do you have Ace and Marte available?
I have talked to Ace. He's fine. I had not seen Marte yet, so he'll be a game time decision. He'll have to play catch and let me know how he feels.
Joe, for guys going through this the first time, is Yankees Red Sox still an eye-opener?
I think so. You know, I think it's similar to kind of when I went through. I could sit in Joe's office as a coach and have an idea what it was like to manage the New York Yankees, but you really don't know exactly what it's like until you go through it. And those guys have probably seen many times the Yankees and the Red Sox play, but until you actually go through it, it's probably a little bit different than what you imagine. Now, Marcus, I believe, has experienced it, and Javi has experienced it, and Nick has experienced, but Curtis hasn't.
Joe, there was a lot made of Tim Girardi's slow start last year. Do you think it'll help him? I mean, Alex,
I hope a lot. Obviously, our lineup is intact in that way, where last year we didn't have Alex the first 5 weeks, and you hope that, you know, I'll never forget when Alex hit that homer in the first pitch he saw in Baltimore. Tex had a bigger smile than Alex did. So hopefully it helps a lot.
Joe, from last year's opening day till tonight, what have you learned about CC that maybe you didn't know when you first saw him?
I think you learn more about his personality than anything, you know, because you can watch him as a pitcher and see the things that he's capable of doing on TV and against you. But you really don't understand his personality until you're with him. And what I think I'm most amazed about is how he's the same every day, whether he's pitching or not pitching. It is the same guy every day, and you see what a competitor here he is. CC really enjoys what he does. And that's not something you'd ever know unless you were around him on a day-to-day basis.
Joe, could you talk about how you yourself have evolved versus your not against the Boston?
Yeah. Well, I've learned a lot what it's like to sit in this chair as a New York Yankees manager, I can tell you that, and understand the complexity of the job and the things that you're responsible for. And I understand our players now because I've been with them. Some of them, this is the third year. And it's different playing with a player than managing a player, in a sense. Even though you do understand their personality, it's still different when you're in a different role. Understand the league better, being in it for the third year in a row. Hadn't been in it in a while and never had to manage in it, just was a player and a coach for 1 year. Those are probably the biggest things.
Do you think you've got the hang of it now? I mean, you got it mastered?
No, I don't think you ever have it mastered. I think you're always learning, and I think when you stop learning, that's when you're going the wrong direction.
Joe, it was 46 days ago you addressed this for the first time down in Tampa. What is it like just right now to see the season ready to unfold, to really get going?
You know, you're really amazed at how fast 46 days goes. You know, when you get to spring training, you start looking at your schedule and seeing some of the days that you have, and you're saying, wow, it seems like a long time until opening day. But it goes extremely quickly. Happy with our spring training. Was extremely happy until about Monday night with how the health of our club, and then we started getting nicked up. But we seem to be doing okay in all those departments right now. Marte's the one guy I got to check, and we got to see Nick during BP, but I think he's okay. But it's amazing how quickly time goes. Yes, he's catchable. He's going to run today, too. You know, he won't run 100%, but he's catchable, yes.
Joe, everybody knows they count now. Your players know that. You know that. But do you still instill that it's time to turn the switch here? Here we go.
I mean, we talked about it. We had a little meeting the other day and things that we expect. But it is time now. I mean, every at-bat does count. Every pitch that you make does count. It's different than what you go through in spring training, and especially when you have a lot of veteran players that have been through it. I mean, they're thinking about getting themselves physically ready and making sure that they're healthy. And then when the season starts, they turn it up a notch. And guys understand that.
Joe, do you think it'll be tougher to retain than attain? Do you believe in that second time around trying to win a championship?
I don't. I mean, it's hard to win a World Series. It really is. I mean, there's a lot of things that have to go right, and I think that's the tougher thing in repeating than the personality of the players in the room. It's very difficult. It's very competitive. Our division is extremely competitive. The American League is extremely competitive. That's the hard part about it. Not that our guys don't want it, because I know our guys want it. I see the way they came into camp and the way they worked during camp, and in talking to them, how much fun they had last year, and they want to do it all over again. But you have to play at an extremely high level every day.
So the way last year started against this team, did you ever have a moment where you just were sitting by yourself and wondering if you really could beat this team?
No, I didn't. I mean, if you play a team enough times, eventually you're going to beat them. and I knew we were a good club. You know, it wasn't something that we enjoyed going through. In places that you went to, people were reminded that you're 0-8 against the Red Sox. I mean, that happened in a breakfast place that I went to all the time, and I wasn't real pleased about that. But I knew that we'd eventually beat them. Did I know that we'd end up 9-9? No, I didn't know that.
Did your players believe it as much as you did?
I do, because they'd been through it enough. And when you have experienced guys, they understand the ebb and flow of a season. They understand the ups and downs, and sometimes you just don't play well for a little bit, and then all of a sudden you play great. So teams can be somewhat streaky, and I think most of our guys understood that.
How are you feeling right now about Cano and the 5 spots coming off of a strong spring?
I feel good. You know, you look at his last 2 weeks of him batting in that 5 slot, he was tremendous. Now, you know, if something happens tonight and he doesn't happen to get it done, is there going to be question marks? I'm sure someone's going to ask the question. But I really believe in what this kid can do, and he's our number 5 hitter.
Joe, when you look at this Red Sox team that you got to face this next couple of nights and through the season, what do you think of the additions they made, the guys they brought in, Lackey, Cameron, Belcher, et cetera?
They improved their rotation. John Lackey's a number 1. He was number 1 over with the Angels. You look at their rotation, it's extremely strong. Defensively, I think they got stronger. They added speed. Adrian Beltre is a tremendous third baseman that has power and that can hit. I think they've improved their club, and that just makes our job that much harder.
Should you talk to anybody from the Senators then?
No, I saw Hal, Hank, Felix, all in the last day or so in camp. So I have not spoken to anyone. I did speak to Yogi. Yogi called. So that's always a great call.
You have words of wisdom for you?
He said, "I'll be watching."
So a lot has been made about AJ and Posada. Another thing with AJ is last year he gave up, I think it was 20 runs at Fenway.
Yeah.
Do you think he got caught up in the rivalry too much, or any concern about him taking the ball here?
It's possible, but you look at the success that he had the year before. It's pretty good, you know, against the Red Sox. So do you chalk it up as he got too involved in rivalry? I don't know. Do you chalk it up to he just had a bad year? I don't know. Obviously, we're going to be able to find out over the course of the season what he's capable of doing.
So with all these off days you've got coming up, are you planning on sticking with Nick in the DH slot all the way through for a little while, or you just start rotating that out yet?
No, with the days off, my plans are for him to DH. Yeah, those are my plans, yeah. I mean, we got to see how they feel after each day right now, but I mean, I think Georgie's good, and I think Nick is good.